Francis continues to draw criticism from traditional Catholics who see him as a liberal who's too heavily involved in politics and scandal. One America's Jack Posobiec spoke with an author about the issue and has more from Washington.
Dr. Taylor Marshall, he's a Catholic author, a scholar, a podcaster. So thank you so much for being on with us, Dr. Marshall.
Hey, it's great to be here.
You've written a book that's very critical and raises some questions about the Vatican. Tell me about your book.
Yeah, I wrote this book. It tells the story of how the Catholic Church has been undermined for about 150 to 200 years. It doesn't just go back 4 or 5 years or a few decades. It's actually a very long story about infiltration of seminaries, monasteries, the priesthood, bishops, the cardinals, and I argue towards the end of the book, even now in the walls of the Vatican, even with Pope Francis. You know, the number one cardinal archbishop, ex-cardinal Theodore McCarrick, was laicized early this year for all of his, crimes, sexual crimes, and financial crimes against the church. So it's been a horrible year for the Catholic Church. So much scandal, not just in the United States, but also in the Vatican itself. And people are asking, how did it get this corrupt? And so my book, Infiltration, traces the history of the Vatican Bank, theology, liturgy, seminary training, and evidence from both in America and abroad showing that there has been a subtle and active infiltration to undermine what the Catholic Church teaches with regard to faith and morals.
What is the overall purpose of this insurgent force that in your book you argue has really propped up the current Pope?
Well, we've seen that in the political realm, especially in the last 2 decades, there's a move towards globalization. There's an attack on patriotism. There's an attack on property, attack on national identity. And all of these things need to come together, not just politically, but also for people on Sunday and people in the pews. And so I think globalists have been actively working, again, not just the last 2 years, but for a long time in order to undermine the biggest institution on earth. That's the Catholic Church, 1.2 billion people, and to influence its leadership so that no longer does Catholicism teach the Apostles' Creed, that Christ was born of a virgin, he died on the cross for our sins, he rose again on the 3rd day for our justification. The classic Christian gospel, to take that out and put in environmentalism, feminism, globalism, secularism, socialism, all the isms that are being pushed by the UN, by the EU. The goal is to get the papacy and the Catholic Church on board cheerleading this globalist agenda.
Dr. Taylor Marshall, I could talk to you all day about this stuff. Where can people go to find more information?
You could check out my site, taylormarshall.com. You could check out my YouTube channel or other YouTube channels. And if you want to kind of get the backstory, check out my book, Infiltration.
Dr. Taylor Marshall, a pleasure and an honor. Thank you, sir.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.